Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Forged here. Today we're going to be taking another look at Clan Boss, more in specific Demon Lord, and we're going to be looking at a high-end Wixwell Titus team that is going to hit the damage cap, and then we'll also take a look at the gear, some replacements, the relics, blessings, masteries, the whole 9 yards. So in my team that I'm currently using, I'm running Grazer, Lydia, Wixwell, Mikage, and Titus. And so to start out, we got Grazer opening up with his A3 just to get some buffs, and then he's going to be focusing on his A2 for the buff extension as well as some damage since that's a enemy max HP hit. Lydia, we're going to be turning off her A3 and only focusing on that A2 for the strengthen and the increased speed on us, but more in specific, the decreased defense and the weaken on the boss. Wixwell open up on his A3 for the shield and some buff, and then turn that off since he's not going to need to use it. Then just turn on and focus his A2 just so that we can get some shield growth. And buff extension, Lady Mikage, we are going to open up with her A3 for the all ally attack, get some buffs on everybody, and then she is going to focus on her A2 for the buff extension as well as try to get rid of any buffs that the boss might come across. And then for Titus, I like to open up with his A1 just so that we can get the shield growth going just a little bit because everybody else will go before him. But his A2 is very important because it's always going to be critical as long as he is under a shield. So we want him to focus on that because that is his absolute nuke. So we'll start this round off and then we'll talk through the beginning of it. You guys can kind of see how the beginning of the team goes. So to start out, we got Lydia placing the decreased defense and the weaken as well as the strengthen and the increased speed. Then we have Mikage with her all ally attack for the increased attack and the increased crit damage. Grazer going in with the resistance, and then we got Wixwell with the shield and the increased defense. And then Titus just goes in with his A1. Then the boss will go, and then this is where all of the extensions will start happening. We got Mikage extending, Grazer extending, and then Wixwell is going to extend. So now that you guys have seen the opening 2 turns, let's go over why we have people in the spots that we have them. So we have Grazer in the lead for his aura because his lead is 30% defense in all battles, whereas Wixwell's is 25 or 28%, I believe. And so since all of Grazer, Wixwell, and Titus are defensive based, we want as much defense as possible. But then when we take into consideration Lady Mikage's 6-star awakening with intimidating presence, that is going to increase Grazer's aura all the way up to 40.5%. So everybody will have an additional 40.5% of their base defense added on. And with champs in specific like Titus, where he has a high base defense and he deals damage based off of his defense, that's only going to help his damage numbers go up. Lydia, we brought in for obviously the decreased defense and the weaken, but then she also brings increased speed as well as strengthen. And we have Lady Mikage going as the first buff extender just because she has the ally attack. And so if she's going to be the fastest one, she's also going to cycle through to that ability as fast as possible to allow everybody else to get basically a free extra hit in on the boss. Wixwell, we obviously have for the shield growth, the buff extension, the decrease attack on the boss. He is going to be growing the shields by 3% per buff on the ally. So in essence, if you have a shield that is 100,000, let's say, and your ally has 5 buffs on, he's going to increase it by 15%, which is going to be an additional 15,000 onto the shield as well as increase the duration, in case anybody did not know that. And then in the case of Titus, you want to build him with as little HP as possible, but you want to have as high of defense and crit damage as possible, just because his A2 is his big nuke, and that scales based off of his defense as well as the shield. His A2 will always be critical if he is under a shield, which in a Wixwell Infinity comp, he will always be under a shield. And so the formula for that, since his A2 multiplier is 5.5, is going to be 5.5 times his defense times 1 plus the sum of the shield divided by his HP. So the lower his HP, the better his damage. So as you guys can see, the run finished up here in the background, and it says 2.14 billion, but Titus had close to 2.9 billion just by himself, and that's all based off of the game's coding. It's based on a 32-bit integer, so it's just going to cap out at that on the screen, but obviously the damage will be higher. So let's go ahead and take a look at the gear. Mikage we have at 277 in a shield set with 96,000 HP, just so that we have the secondary shield coming in. This one is not booked in her main form, but she does have the 6-star Intimidating Presence to boost Grazer's aura. She is fully mastered with the T6 Mastery. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that's called. I forgot. Unshakable. So that's my Mikage for Clan Boss. Then let's go ahead and take a look at Titus. We have in Merciless and some Slayer. That way he ignores 35% defense, but he's boasting 6,500 defense. A little bit slow, but that's okay. Got the Cat's Gaze. Fully booked. And then for more damage, we have Heaven Cast on him so that he does 1% more damage per buff. And since he, is in a team filled with buffs, it'll be beneficial. Got the Helm Smasher on him. Then we have our Lydia, who we just have fast, making sure that she can land those debuffs and cycle through to that A2 as fast as possible. Got that for some extra ACC. Fully booked with Cruelty to lower the clan boss's defense. And then fully mastered. Moving on to Wixwell, we have in a reflex set just so that he can get the cooldowns. And use his A2 as much as possible, since that's going to extend buffs as well as grow the shield, and that's kind of the whole point. Fully booked, fully mastered, got Brimstone on him just so that he can get some extra damage in. And then moving on over to Grazer. Don't really have him built out the best, but we do have him at 265 just so he can cycle through to that A2 just to get the enemy max HP, as well as the buff extensions for everybody. Golden Elixir on him because I use him in other areas. Have him fully booked but not mastered. And there you have it, guys. That's the team that I use for Clan Boss every day. Let me know what you guys think and what you guys want to see. Have a good one.